Welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Primary Arms. Tonight, we're following up on last week's show, but we're talking about stuff that the experienced reloader tends to forget sometimes when you get, especially if you get in a groove and you're starting to crank out a bunch and you there's stuff that slips your mind, especially when you're as old as Jim and Paul. You know, there's a lot of stuff that slips their mind. But, so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But first, Jim, what you been up to?
I bought a red dot from my Ruger Mark II.
What'd you buy?
Oh, God, you would ask.
Well, of course.
Some Asian import.
Oh, all right. Good luck with that.
Yeah,
Hollow Sun? Hollow Sun?
It could be. I don't know.
Was it under $200 or over $200?
It was under 28.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. It's at least it's going on at 22.
Well,
Yeah.
it'll make a great paperweight in a couple weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I thought I got a bargain.
You probably did get a bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
However,
bargain goes in and sink to the bottom of the river.
At least it's going on at 22. That's
right.
Yep, on the Mark II. On the Mark II.
Yeah. So
well, the other red dot was intermittently cutting out. It's like the battery was loose or something.
Yeah.
Put a fresh battery in it, still cutting out.
Yeah, what happens is those contacts where they solder them to the board, they use cheap solder.
Yep.
And over time it vibrates loose.
Yep, under recoil.
That's the joys of the lesser expensive optics.
Andy, 79, Z28.
Chico Wise, Reloader 762, JH586, Michael Dunn, 454 Bore, Jorgen from north of the border, and let's see who else. Vemjem from south of the equator, and Vanessa. Got quite the group in there already. So thanks everybody for joining. So Chico, I would agree that red dots are good, but
quality red dots.
Yeah, you want a quality red dot.
Jorgen, stop it. Behave yourself, you bum.
Mm-hmm.
You can always God, it's like be on Jim tonight. You can always put a dab of nail polish on the lens when that happens, Jim. That'd be
I don't know if Jim's
dot.
got the right color. He usually likes darker shades.
You really want me to go away further? Or I think we might get in trouble if we do. Wait till Shrenda comes along, and then I'm going to let it go.
Anyway.
Jorgen, you're a bum.
Then he's proud of that. Paul, what you been up to?
Let's see. Celebrated Independence Day. Decided to buy myself a little toy for the 550. And that's it. Fireworks, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And so a couple days I should be getting the case feeder for the 550.
Nice.
See how that works. Yeah. Keep me from bringing down and setting up the 1000. It'll make things a little easier.
Yeah. And Nick and Ray have been gallivanting around the countryside. Tell us about your trip.
Go ahead.
So, I don't know where the best place to start.
Well, I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
The reason I went on last week's show, I was out of town for work, had a work meeting in Nashville, and got back from that. Then been traveling all across the country. But prior to that, I reloaded some ammo in the first time in a long time. So
You did, actually.
loaded about 500 rounds of 223 up, and had to take my time at first because it had been about 6-8 months I loaded anything. So I got that done, and then Nick traveled here recently.
Yeah, this last weekend we were in Pennsylvania. Went to Gettysburg,
and
for the anniversary. Incredible! I tell anybody ever get the chance, go. It's a incredible place, especially the anniversary. We were there, being there the day of the anniversary of Pickett's charge. We went and saw that area, and for me, I got chills. It kind of went through me, but it was incredible.
Yeah,
Little Round Top, all that was just beautiful, and just so.
Yeah, the Rangers, they do a really good job of setting the scene, explaining exactly what happened to a person that may know a whole lot about it. Then you've seen what those soldiers for both sides had to do. It was quite incredible. Really, really neat place.
Well, one of the things that impresses me is the fact that Nick likes to do the reenactment, but he likes W2 stuff. And it's like, can you imagine the devastation 50 cal mini ball would do?
Well, and I didn't know this. I'd always watched the movies and read some reports, like on Pickett's charge. I always thought that was 2,000 yards field they crossed. No, it was from Seminary Ridge to Cemetery Ridge. The Virginia Pickett's, Armistead, and one other general, they crossed anywhere from only 800 to 1,000 yards of field.
Actually, Pickett's was even longer than that. They estimated there was a guy that did the walk from the cannon line.
Okay, yeah, Pickett was off to the left, and
it's almost a full mile.
Yeah, I forgot Pickett was off to the left, and that was a little different angle. And I think Armistead was it was the shortest, but it was a turkey shoot for the Union guns. It was.
Yeah.
I took some photos, and I'll post those to the Discord here later this week. I got right behind one of the guns at the Union line, and it just was a turkey shoot. But
the soldiers had to hold off till they were within range, so
yeah,
they knew exactly what was coming.
Yep, but yeah, it was incredible. So,
and what they say at that particular point, the Confederate artillery was not as accurate. They were overshooting.
Actually. Yep.
But the Union artillery returning fire was more accurate.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
The Union line wasn't softened up as much as they thought they were.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very interesting place. Very
absolutely. Yeah, because as Jim, you said, as I'm more knowledgeable in World War II, Civil War, I'm starting to learn more on. I picked up a book called The Killer Angels. I've heard it's a great book. It's actually one of the only ones I know of war-related book that won the Pulitzer Prize. But I've heard it's an incredible book. I actually got it signed by the son of the writer, the original writer of the book. And that's for anybody that doesn't know, that book was the one they used to produce the movie Gettysburg.
Yep.
So if anybody, I just started it today.
It's an audio book too, and it's amazing.
Yep, even the audio version. So, but yeah, I said, anybody ever get the chance, it's worth it. So.
It was Pickett, Pettigrew, and Trimble.
Yep.
Okay.
So, which was from Longstreet's and First Corps and AP Hill's Third Corps.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
yeah, and I'd recommend the auto tour. Because the cool thing about their auto tour there, they takes you and it takes you up to Seminary College and starts up there where the actual day one stuff, and then it brings you back in towards Seminary Ridge. We bought the audio CD
set that you can buy in the gift store, and it walks you from stop to stop, tells you exactly what happened, and gives you a lot of background history. It's neat.
Yeah,
it really sets the mood.
Yeah, but I think something's cool is. I kind of take this kind of cool. The first shots was fired by a gentleman from a Springfield caliber. Yeah.
From Illinois,
not Illinois unit. Illinois unit. But I just think that's kind of some cool history tied back to Illinois. So, but
yeah, definitely. From what I've heard, a cool place to.
Yeah.
Visit. I have not made it there yet, but I will. So
I also visited. We also visited Little Round Top. Got some good pictures from up there where you can see, and that's probably one of the best views on
overlooking Devil's Den.
The swamp, the valley. You can kind of see the peach orchard a little bit, not much. And then I took the walk back to where the 20th Maine was. That's one of the greatest inspirational stories of all time is Colonel Chamberlain. Yep. And I walked that whole line from the right to the left flank, and it was incredible. Just looking at how they held off that small area, it's just incredible. But that's about it. Really, I didn't do any reloading. I had a couple tools come in. That's about it. Really, I had my RCBS primer pocket case swager or primer pocket swager come in last week. So, but other than that, that's about it. I did.
You'll have to tell us how that pans out for you.
Yeah. Well, Dad's got one, and I've always liked using his.
Yeah, I like mine.
But when I saw Midway running it for almost half off, I couldn't pass on that price.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the other thing is too, it is a tool, and you use it long enough, even though it's using brush, you could wind up diminishing the size of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you both have got one for backup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I have one. They work, well. I don't know. I think the Dillon's can be a little tricked out a little faster.
Yeah.
I've got the Dillon, but I've got to get the missing parts for it. I got it at a garage sale, so. But I haven't gotten serious about loading up a lot of my military SERP or my MilSERP 5.56 rounds, so I haven't had to worry about that yet. So, but other than that, I didn't do much. A lot of working at Cabela's, so. Yeah, just a lot of working at Cabela's. So, yeah, that's about it. So, common mistakes for the experienced reloader.
Well, the worst ones I could think of would be trusting your memory instead of your load data in your books and your tables.
Yep.
And I know that load by heart. I've been loading that thing for 35 years.
Yep.
No. Go to your data every time. Your written data, it's got a far better memory than you ever will have.
Thinking you remember that your lock ring is set exactly where the die is supposed to be, and you just spin it back into your press without checking it. Whether it's a seating die or a decapping die. I've done that because I'll have the single stage right here and I'll have the die. I'll crank the lock ring down and then I'll just grab the die body and spin it out, leaving the lock ring there, assuming that the lock ring's always set and not checking it until after I resize a couple and realize that they're not resizing fully.
My big problem is trusting lot numbers, different lot numbers on powders without reworking. Yeah, I go out and
That's something I'm guilty of, but I'm also not running hot as loaded as you, so it doesn't make as much of a difference for me.
yeah,
And I'm not loading as much of a precision load for the most part. There's a couple instances where, yeah, but that's where I bought an 8-pound keg because that's going to be so.
even
Chico's
buying
gotta
8-pound cakes. Yeah, go
Right.
ahead.
Sorry. Chico's got a good one.
Changing batteries
Chico.
and tools.
No
Experience reloaders don't
electric,
use
no batteries and digital calipers.
That was a tongue in cheek. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that I don't. As far as lot numbers, like if I know once I do a load, I'll buy a pound powder to do testing. But then when I find the powder I want, I'll buy an 8-pounder. I'll test it once for that 8-pounder, but I'll just load up. I won't do like test. I'll load up 10 or whatever and make sure sometimes, but not all. If it's a precise load, But if it's just a target load, I don't even check. So, not always checking your, not consistently checking your powder charges when you're doing
Volume reloading.
volume reloading, and especially if you're doing a large quantity. Not checking that powder throw every 10 to 15 or 20. Some people are checking it 100. Some people aren't even doing that. So, I mean, I know a lot of people, especially people with automated presses. They'll check first couple loads when they set it up, and then they'll just turn that thing loose. And all they do is keep adding the consumables, and don't bother to check the powder charge.
Old way with the RL 1000 loading 308 was to fill the hopper up and then tape the powder, another pound of powder up to the top of it, and you would reload 308 that way, pulling the handle and just putting primers in as it goes. Yeah, not checking, boy, that led to some very stiff loads. Not only not re-zeroing your powder scale, but calibrating your powder scale every time. Especially when you start getting into the more sensitive powder scales. The FX 120, the E&J 123, both of them have to be calibrated, every time you start.
JH586 just said I forgot to size some 38 bullets once. Size
Okay.
cast bullets.
Well, it's like in the early days of IPSC, a 38 Super was a 356 bullets, and a 9mm was 355. Okay. Now Hornady still sells HAP, their HAP bullets, and their 115s are a 355, but their 38 Super bullet, which is a 125, is a 356 bullet. Well, you don't think much about it, but you got a little pressure rise there, especially with a copper jacket like that.
It sounds to me like one of the most common mistakes us experienced reloaders make is simply not checking our setups, period.
Mm-hmm.
From A to Z.
Overconfidence.
Yep.
I had that I just had that set up last time I reloaded that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was all set up. Mm-hmm. You ever seat bullets too deep, first time out?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Forgetting to back off the seater plug.
Right.
That is, I say again, we forgot to back off the seater plug. Mm-hmm. A new reloader would be more careful than that.
Yeah, new reloader would back it off and sit down and try to work his way up. We're sitting there, sit there and look at it and go, okay, yeah.
Paul, Miss Kitty's got one in there for you, you bum.
GG IDW Reloading says also goes for calibrating your dial calibers with the standard gauge provided.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an important thing because most people don't realize that. Yeah, because there's no batteries, but they need to be calibrated. There's no zero button on it. So
I've actually got caught with my pants down one day. My calipers had jumped one tooth,
oops.
and they were off with exactly 25,000. My dial calipers, my Toyo. Here I am working. I'm making parts with the hole too small.
Oh no.
And glass bottle plant, that wasn't a good thing.
No.
Mike, are you frozen?
No,
Nope.
just you.
It's too warm up here to be frozen. Wait,
Hey,
6
what
months.
mistake I commonly make is when I'm going from loading a cast bullet to a jacketed bullet. For some reason, I always forget to flare the case, and I'm doing a lead bullet, and I usually catch it on one of the first one or two, and I have to go back to all that brass and flare them. And just something. Maybe I need to print out the steps for each type, and I won't skip it. But
No, I think we just need to make something whenever we do that. We have like a something we put on our tray or whatever.
something.
We got to figure something out. So I've even done that here recently.
Vanessa, how did you
There's
like that spice? I've seen it before. So in the chat, they're talking about other important things like smoking brisket. So, and Vanessa said her sister-in-law brought a spice called Slap Yo Mama. I've seen it before, but I've never actually heard anybody that's used it. So I'm kind of wondering, was it good or not? So
It's good stuff, Mike. It's good.
I'm gonna have to get some.
I got tons of it at work. If you want me to pick some up, just let me know.
Yeah, why don't you?
I can
And
do
then
that.
whenever we meet up and switch out all this stuff that we've got for each other, I'll grab it
Exactly.
from you.
We got each got carloads pretty much for each other.
I think meeting Galesburg, it's halfway.
Yeah, a little north of that probably, but we'll figure it out.
Yep. So, Vanessa, I am not slapping my mama. She will knock my ass out. And she's 72 years old. She'll still knock my ass out. So, no, I'm not slapping my mama. I know better. All right. So, most of this that we've just been talking about specifically deals with still normal reloading. What about if we're getting into the advanced stuff, Paul? Jim?
Oh boy. Measuring out your cases and setting your sizing die the right way, and not starting, everybody sits down and they size one piece of brass and they put it back in, size it again, and not going back to, oh, I got it now. And then you take and throw a new piece of brass in, you don't measure it again. I loaded up a whole bunch of 223 one day that would not easily close the bolt doing that number.
Oops.
Yeah. And when you hand weigh out 200 rounds of 223 ammunition, and you cannot close the bolt easily, you get a little perturbed at yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Michael Dunn just said another one. Trimming before you resize.
Yeah.
I've done that. I got home from shooting, threw it all in the tumbler because I was going to make up another load. Threw it all in the tumbler, let the tumbler run for a couple hours, got busy doing other stuff, came back down, and grabbed the trimmer right away. I went,
Yeah.
Oops.
Whoops.
I had 3 cases trimmed before I realized what I did. Now, luckily, after resizing, they were still usable.
Okay.
Somehow. They were 308. So,
Pretty forgiving there. Okay.
yeah.
You know, but you get into some of those and you could have some real problems. But yeah, that's one, especially if it's working off the shoulder. You have to resize the case first before you can trim anything that's with a trimmer that works off of the shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Quit pulling and smack. Oh! Jim's getting abused. Wes giving a dodge, seating the second primer. Oops. GGW Reloading wants to know, anyone use a universal flaring die and make a mini funnel because you thought it was a set?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I actually have somewhere in my oopses, I actually have a 9mm case that not only was it flared out really wide, but then it rolled over.
Oh, that was bad. That was
Yeah, I
bad.
actually rolled it over. That's kind of cool looking, but yeah, I don't think that's the way you're supposed to roll crimp,
No, it
especially to the outside. So
over some oversized bullets with a Lyman M die, and you all of a sudden you check the bullet after when you're going to seat it, and you drop it into the case, and the bullet disappears. Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're like, where'd it go?
Yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know.
I hate when that happens. I've done it too. Drop the bullet right in the case. Like, oh shit.
I did it a while ago when I was doing a loading demonstration here for the show because I didn't have the sizing die set right. The bullet went right through. I'm like, oops.
Yeah. Yeah. The hard part with some of them, especially if you're like Nick and Ray over there, and you're dropping large powder charges, and you don't have a drop tube, and you watch the powder come out of the case as you lift the funnel.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, on that we always usually something we're not familiar with the powder 100% times what charge is. We'll usually put like a bowl or something, some sort of catch pan underneath it.
I've done that.
Yeah, that's something we've done here the last big couple times we've done a different loading that we're trying. I thought of one that, well, seeing Wes Covine in the chat, especially like for Martini Henry, make sure either your brass is annealed enough or you're not using a lot of lube.
Yeah,
Because he's probably had it happen where you've wrinkled that neck of that case and
Yep.
it's shot at that point. So
Good one, Jorgen.
Jorgen said he tubbled 223 brass with 375 Ruger brass. For those who don't know, the body diameter of the 223 case is 376. Trust me, they go in, but they don't come out. That's even worse than 380 into 9.
Yeah.
Or, 380 into 40.
I've had 22, 9mm, 40, and 45. Quadruple threat. It's just like pull my blinking hair out.
Somewhere around here, I've got a 9 and a 40 and a 45. So I've given up, and now that we're searching for houses, I've given up on trying to make my reloading room organized. I'm just going to do that when we move.
There you go.
Ouch.
Ouch.
Yeah, we'll give
Jorgen
Jorgen
said, especially when 375 Ruger brass is 90 for 50 pieces.
$2 a piece.
Yeah. I'm get used
I'm
to
thinking.
it, guys.
I'm thinking. What I'm doing is I'm going to get my nailer out, and I'm going to throw that brass in the annealer, and then see if I can dump the 223 out of it.
He can get it out.
Oh yeah.
He's just got to get his little hammer out there and whack-a-mole. That will take it out.
Oh, yeah.
Or-
Kinetic
or
bullet
let-
puller.
Yeah,
Yeah, that works.
get his Frankfurt Arsenal out and set it up. That'll whack him out.
Yep.
You know what? I think Jorgen's got a point because what happens is the case mouth of the 223 or the 5.56 goes into 375, but when it comes out, it's the case head, and so if it's not lined up perfectly, you could wind up getting screwed royally like he is.
That's
That's
why
why I
you
said
use,
heat it up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why a thing like the Frankfurt Arsenal will work on that. It will take it out.
There we go.
Yes, Vanessa, whacking. You get your kinetic bullet puller out and you whack the hell out of it on the wood block.
There you go.
Please don't use concrete.
Yeah. Wood block. Unless you want to be buying lots of new kinetic hammers, then go ahead and use concrete all you want because you'll get about 5 or 6 whacks and then you're going to need a new hammer.
Yeah,
I've done on wood and grain. I've done that. I've broken the kinetic bullet puller on any grain. Oh, Miss Kitty, you need to behave, dear.
Well, Jorgen said, or size it up to, say, 416, remove, and then resize. I suppose you could do that, too. Just make sure you anneal both times.
yeah, and make sure that you're not your expanding part doesn't go too deep into the case. Otherwise, the 223 would cause problems with your expander, locking things up. And as far as that's one of the reasons I don't like to use media for cleaning cases, because media gets in there and locks everything up. Even the steel, and the corn cob and that good ultrasonic cleaner, put it in there, let it go.
Well, let's see here. Michael Dunn said thank you for the I never thought about the concrete and the hammer. Vanessa Kitty says, how do you handle the washing out of the tumbler as far as contamination of surroundings from residue goes? What some people have done is they'll take the media and they'll pour it into a bag and then get the de-leading wipes and you wipe out the inside of the tumbler. So,
Acetone,
yep.
alcohol, denatured alcohol, spray it in.
Yep.
Rubber glove.
Brake cleaner, carb cleaner.
Yep.
You know.
You got to watch some of the carb cleaners and brake cleaners because they'll affect plastic and rubber. Yes.
What fun are you then?
I know, but
you could use Dawn dish soap.
But I'm like you though. I sit down and I just put them in an ultrasonic and I don't worry about it.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Because that's getting thrown out anyway.
Yep. Figured I'd better check and make sure my flashlight's got batteries in it. It's been a while since I've looked at it. Just sits on the shelf next to me. So, anyway,
Matt Gorman put up a good comment about using simple green clean out that tumbler.
Yep. Spudman76 wants to know, does the ultrasonic clean dyes as well? Yes. That's another thing that we forget to do. Cleaner dyes.
Uh-huh.
That's one of the first things I do, especially when I pick up a set of used dyes or something.
Well, yeah, we do that when we pick up used dyes, but
Yeah.
how many of us actually clean them after we've loaded a couple thousand rounds? Unless there's an actual issue,
Yeah, that's who knows how last time we cleaned some of the dyes.
right?
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Sizing dyes especially, and lead bullet seating dyes.
Yeah.
You know, how many of us pros have made a mistake putting the wrong seating dye
Seating
stem
stem.
in?
Yep.
You know,
MA wants to know, if you ultrasonic clean your dyes, I assume you have to oil them afterwards, right?
sure, yeah.
Regardless of what you're cleaning them with, you got to oil. Now, be careful with the oil you choose, because some oils pick up dust, like Pledge does for your furniture.
Yes. Invest in this
Croyle.
Crow.
So
It gets in there. It goes through everything. It just a little bit goes a long way, and it will stop any rust from forming, and it also helps in lubing up your protecting your rifle barrels and that and pistol barrels and stuff like that. And if you have to ever put a part in that's a little tight, a drop of that and it just all of a sudden just flies right in.
Jorgen also said another one: clean dyes when switching lubes.
Yeah.
So if you're like Jim, who was using that Lee lube and found out it didn't work very well, and then he had to switch to lanolin, if he didn't clean his dyes first, he might have had some issues. So GGW Reloading also said Ballistol works great too. Yes. WD-40, however, no.
Fish oil, nope.
WD-40 has no place anywhere near firearms or reloading equipment. Get rid of it right now.
Yeah.
There's probably a couple hundred people that are listening to this podcast that actually have cans of WD-40 because they don't realize that it's not a lubricant.
It's a penetrating oil.
It's penetrating oil and a water displacer. So
It's fish oil.
Fish oil.
That's all.
The only thing I've heard, and I don't know if this is wives' tale, does WD-40 kill live primers? I've heard of people when they want to kill a live primer in a shell.
So somebody put that test to test. They took live primers, they soaked them in WD-40, they soaked them in motor oil, and there was like two other things they soaked them in. As soon as they all dried out, they all went bang.
Okay.
And water was one of them. As soon as all the primers dried out, they all went bang.
I believe alcohol was the fourth one.
Yeah, I don't remember what the fourth one was, but yeah. So there is no real way to kill a live primer that anybody's actually honestly found. So
Permanently.
Correct.
You can,
other than to fire it.
Yeah. And people worry about depriming live rounds. I haven't had any problem with it. So yeah, I'm not sitting there saying, run it through the 650 at top speed, but just
single stage, go slow. You're fine.
Go slow, yeah.
Pretend there's an egg between your like when you're trying to teach your kid how to lightly use the gas and lightly use the brakes, that whole raw egg analogy, kind of think of it the same way. Pretend there's a raw egg between your decapping pin and that primer, and you want to go slow. So the Canadian Canadian says, my go-to oil is mineral oil. A few drops on a rag, perfect for wiping down metal surfaces. A drop on a patch, wipes the board, drop on the tongue, and regularity is improved.
Yeah. Food
Well
grade,
done.
yeah.
Y'all were talking about briskets a while ago. You might as well talk about when it comes out.
That's right.
Jorgen, you're terrible.
One thing it's not really a mistake, but it's often forgot about is press maintenance. You know, lubing the press, cleaning the press.
Right?
Clean the press.
Cleaning the press.
press. You know, that's that is the biggest killer that I've found, and I have killed presses.
Yeah.
So yeah, cleaning the press, cleaning the ram, cleaning up where the ram fits into the sleeve. Yeah, all that and more.
West Covina Dodge said 0W30 and marine grease. What he's talking about is for lubrication of your press. Motor oil actually works really good for the press ram. And then marine grease just seems to work better. Like especially on looking around, I don't know if the Lee, so the Lee the Loadmaster's got grease zerks at the hinge. Dylan 550 doesn't. I don't know about the 650 that's out in the garage. The Horde Lock and Load AP Progressive has grease zerks, but marine grease just works better.
The 550C has grease zerks. The Summit Press has grease zerks. My old C&H has oil impregnated brass bushings. How's that? Never need lube. Just
Nice.
keep them clean.
Michael Dunn, motor oil for the Ram. And actually, if you get synthetic motor oil, usually after you pour it in, you go to pour it in the vehicle, there's enough left in the bottle. You put the cap back on, turn it upside down, and then you can literally just take and lightly coat. So like here's like my 550. Bring the Ram up, and you're just going to run your finger along. Obviously, you can see mine needs it. So, now some spots on your presses, you don't want to use motor oil, and you don't want to use grease. You want to use powdered graphite. So,
Marine grease tends to have an adherent in it that makes it more adhesive to wherever surface you put it on.
right. The other thing is marine grease is a little more adept at massive temperature changes and handling moisture. So PA uses 3-in-1 oil. That's another good one. If you can get honest to God sewing machine oil, that's not a bad one. If you've got it laying around and you need something for the Ram, you're better off with the motor oil. But so the idea is to actually get something that's a good oil and not a poor excuse for lubricant. So, what'd you go grab, Paul?
This is Shooter's Choice. It's a high-tech grease. I use it on the lugs of my M1A, and I use it also on things like on my RCBS primer, my priming tool, RCBS priming tool.
Yeah.
That way you get a little bit goes a long way, and it's fairly easy to put on with a with the tip, and you're not dealing with a large amount. So anything that If you're running a Forester case trimmer,
Mm-hmm.
you need to clean and oil the bushing that it runs in. Again, I use Kroll for most of that.
Yeah.
I just Kroll gets into places where regular motor oil and that won't get into. And if you use a retting press, you will find that motor oil will not penetrate very far into a retting press
Okay.
because the tolerances are so tight on that press that you will have difficulty.
What does Redding recommend?
Redding doesn't really recommend anything that I remember. Now, again, I'm getting old. I can forget.
Right.
But if I remember right, they just telling you to keep it clean. You
Okay.
know, keep the ram clean, and it will last forever. And what was it, Sierra?
Yep.
Sierra has a Redding press in there that they've claimed that they've loaded over 1 million rounds on, and it is still has not come out of time. Has not developed tolerances that affect it.
Yep.
Like I have done to 2 RCBS presses.
Yep.
That has to do with the grade of cast iron that the Redding is using in the press.
Yeah.
And the tolerances, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. What? No, I don't think so. What?
Loud's at it again.
No, I'm looking at Spudman76's comment. What? No, I don't think so.
What's PL 100?
It's a construction adhesive.
Spudman, you're not right either.
Unless there's a lubricant out there that's PL100 too. So, but yeah, PL100 is a construction adhesive that I know of. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, basically, a lot of it is we don't clean them, especially if you've got like one you just use for decapping or. Oh, he said it is an oil. Okay, so PL100 is an oil. So, like I said, just something I ain't heard of, but it's out there.
It's his personal lube.
Aha! That's what the PL stands for. 100 would be first generation. All right, we'll go with that.
Loud, you started this stuff. Behave yourself. Damn, nation.
So, anyway, you know, we could. There's lots of little things that we forget to do, but I think the big ones we've kind of covered. A lot of it comes down to very simple overconfidence and complacency. That is the biggest thing that we do mistakes. So
Complacency
or cockiness.
Uh-huh.
So
Not much
I
difference between the
I
two.
remember everything. Mm-hmm.
Not much difference between the two.
no. So that's kind of the big thing is whether you've loaded 1,000 rounds or 1,000,000 rounds. We all got to just remember to act the same every time, like we're new reloaders.
One mistake away from blowing our face off, right?
Exactly. Although in my case, it could be an improvement.
Okay. Well,
I'm just saying. What's the weirdest mistake you've seen in your reloading years? Bullet seated upside down?
I don't know. What about this?
Yeah, that one's pretty weird, Paul.
Something tells me that one. Bring it back up, Paul. Something told me that one was intentional.
Oh, okay. That's a 90 grain 223 bullet on top. So it started out as a 30-06. Intentional, yeah.
Yeah, I think about the weirdest thing I've seen was upside down bullet. Rifle
Like-
cartridge, not a
I
pistol.
think
done
that's
that
how
in
Wildcat bullets are developed there.
Yeah. What about you,
I've done.
Jim?
I see it upside down intentionally, but that wasn't a mistake.
That's why I said rifle versus pistol.
Yeah, 147 grain FMJ.
Why'd you flip that upside down?
I wanted to see if it would shoot.
Oh.
It did.
Well, you know, Sharp, it's a good thing we're ending the show shortly, so. PA reloader, primer and backwards. If you own any Lee products, that's pretty easy to do. Any
Yeah.
Lee, I should say any Lee progressive presses. So,
Some of the hand tools will work that way too.
Yep.
Hornady's hand tool will flip a primer over.
Yeah.
RCBS will too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lee's original will. The new one is supposedly designed so it is harder to do. So. But.
No, it doesn't affect the primer blast coming back down the tube. No, it just goes piff, and that's it.
Yeah, it's not anything really.
No, that's right. Yeah,
it's meh. So
yeah.
Half a shot shell load on and you're not paying attention, and then you go to crimp it.
And
I've
then
done that.
shoot it. Yeah. How about when you pick it up and all of a sudden, it goes, you hear tinkle, 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 tinkle,
Tinkle, tinkle, tinkle, tinkle.
Yeah.
Or worse, you don't realize it until you put it in your gun and you're standing on the trap line.
Yeah. It rolls down your barrel. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep. That was one of those. It's like, hurry up, shoot,
Yeah.
pull.
Especially when everybody's got, hearing protection on and everything else, and the line is going really fast, and you throw the shell in, you close the gun up, you bring it up, bang. You open the gun up, and you pick the empty up, you reach for the new one, and by the time you get ready to go all over again, and then all of a sudden it's whoosh, and you're looking at the ground, and everybody is then looking at you like you just screwed up everybody's timing. Okay.
Right. Yep.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Been there.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, it wasn't in the money shoot. It was just in a fun shoot.
It doesn't matter when everybody is in time, and it is just pull, bang, pull,
but
bang.
As long as nobody lost money over the deal, I'm not as depressed about it. So, Jorgen said his buddy managed to prime a case with a primer sideways and completely crushed. Here.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't go off.
If a primer can go in wrong, I have done it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Cheers.
Yep. If a bullet can go in wrong, I have done it.
Oh yeah, when you go to seat a 9mm and you got your case flared, but you flared a little too much, so then the bullet lays over and you run it up, and it doesn't straighten back up, and it just. Yep.
Yeah, and you learn after a while that you can order dies from CH4D that have speed seeders in them that will straighten the bullet up. It looks like a big funnel. So when you're doing a lot of progressives, it helps.
Nice.
Oh,
I know. Losing the power cord to your Lyman powder dispenser.
There you go.
How about pinching your fingers? You're running the case up to see the bullet.
Nope, never done that.
I've done
Never
that.
done it while priming either.
I've done that.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a few scars here and there.
I do have a scar on my finger from a ejector on a Remington 1100. Somebody got a shell stuck, and I was the RSO, so I was trying to get it out. And I told everybody to step back. Well, as I'm trying to fish it out, somebody decided they wanted to try and help by pushing up on the lift gate.
Ow. Ow.
Almost got my finger out of the way in time.
Ow.
So yeah, but never on a press. Knock on wood.
I wouldn't believe that you would use a gunsmith special trap range.
Mm-mm. No, it was just it was a new shooter, and they just flat out loaded it wrong, and
1100
backwards.
1100 in competition. They are used in competition, but you have to own 3 of them in order to be able to compete.
Oh, so it's like 1897s for SAS shooters.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to have one to shoot, one as a spare, and one at the gunsmith getting fixed.
Yep. So
You get your fingers caught between the press and ram, it'll leave an impression that gives you a nice blood blister.
Well, it's same thing that goes with a progressive press. I mean, you can sit down and really screw yourself up if you reach in there as you're doing other things that you shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
550 is kind of hard because it's small, but you get into the RL1000 and 1150s and 1100s and 1050s. It's got a big shell plate. Okay, it's got a shell plate like this, and there's room for you to stick your fingers in there to go fix something while you're sitting there. Right hand is doing the work, and the left hand is, oops, I just dropped the bullet. Right. I just dropped the bullet. Oh, okay. Oops. And those guys that are real smart and running those automated presses. Yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Allie. Didn't mean to disturb you, buddy.
I've reloaded 380 auto on my C&H press, and it is dangerous. Yes.
Yeah. They go in sideways real nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that kind of wraps up this episode for tonight. I mean, we could probably go on for a couple more hours of different things, especially if we get into neck turning and all the rest. But the idea was kind of the more common ones that you get, that you make when you're experienced, because you've got the experience behind you. So I think we pretty much nailed most of those. So, and like I said, it all comes down to overconfidence or complacency, or some call it cockiness. So,
yeah.
Sorry, Idaho Rogers, no 2-hour show tonight. Travis, no, Jason was watching his woman pick cherries today. So, and no, he wouldn't send me any cherries. I was kind of disappointed about that.
He also was kind of ballsy today because woman picked him up in the front end loader and had his ass up in the tree picking cherries.
Ballsy or stupid, one of the two. So
that's Jason.
Yep.
And you can go out and buy a hand lift cherry picking $20. I mean, I don't want anybody to have me up in a bucket, my wife would do to me, same thing that Jim's wife would do to him. Boom.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was the lift lever, not the dump lever.
That's right. you know, and then they'd bring the bucket down real fast in order to catch you
Wham!
on the ground.
Yep.
I see you, Sharp. You're a crazy maniac.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen July's patch of the month yet, but I know it's going to be a good one. This was June's.
Uh-huh.
So,
RC truck on a bottle rocket.
well, the bottle rockets are right there.
You got
One finger.
a regular rocket there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's your bottle rockets right there. Your Saturn missile battery. Roman candle launcher out the front, and then just a big rocket. That'd be like your Estes rocket. You know, you'd launch something into space.
There you go.
Um,
Besides, most of the guys here are more interested in mortars than anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, those are more fun.
Mhm.
Big blast in the sky.
Yep.
So,
Had a bunch of mortars going off last night.
yeah, no kidding. The only thing is I'm glad there's thunderstorms tonight because that'll keep it down for tonight. So,
How do the dogs take it?
Ollie was pretty good. Gracie, not so well. So Gracie spent most of her time last night snuggled up against me as tight as she could get. So, but she doesn't like thunderstorms either. So she's snuggled up with mom right now. Ollie's good until the thunderstorms get really bad, where you know it looks like somebody's throwing Willie Pete grenades out of a C-130. So
Angel flight.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, but that's why Ollie is now laying on my foot. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. You're okay. So, yeah, it's funny. The little twerp is the one that's not scared of anything.
Always.
Good grief. So, anyway. So, swing on over to Patriot Patch Company, patriotpatch.co, give them a check, sign up for the patch of the month. It's always cool. When I get to the new place, whenever that is, I'm actually going to build a patch wall and put all my patches up. Because I'll own the damn wall. I can do what the hell I want to it. So, swing over to Primary Arms. They've got the Suns Out, Guns Out sale. A lot of AR stuff on sale. A lot of other fun stuff on sale. They've got some good prices on some arrows stuff right now. Uppers, lowers, stripped, loaded. Pepper spray's on sale. Woohoo! Get some pepper spray. If nothing else, it's fun for the neighborhood.
Get the bear spray. Okay. Get more shots that way.
Yeah, but the problem is bear spray can cause anaphylactic shock. So you don't want to do that. As Amazon found out the hard way.
Depends on who you're spraying.
That's what I'm saying. Just get the regular cap spray instead of the bear stuff. So you're safer that way, a little less lawsuits. You know. Anyway. Oh, good grief. So, I still say that word too much. Make sure you check on your friends and neighbors this time of year, especially the fat ones. It's really hot, and you know we get uncomfortable easily. So you have to make sure we're comfortable and cool and have some air conditioning.
Good one, Andy. Zinc, the new gold.
Well, Vanessa Kitty, you had your brisket this weekend. I got mine coming up next weekend. So, and it's bigger than a small baby. So, yeah, I just so you know. I'll have to find that slap your mama for a rub.
No, it's slap your mama, not your mama. At least that's the way it's spelled.
Okay.
Slap Y-O.
Okay.
I do want to give a quick shout out to our friends. I think it's Scott and Todd at EP Integrations. They're running a sale. I believe it's through tomorrow. Yeah, through tomorrow. And they're running, looks like a sale on both the annealer and on the loading block. So
Okay, Jordan.
You did ask for that, Paul.
I know. I got accused of that a long time ago, too, though.
You're muted, Mike.
Well, that's no fun. Thanks, Ollie. All right, gang. On that note, keep your brass shiny.
jump on the mill short bus.
Teach them to shoot and reload when they're young.
My grandpa said, don't listen to your mama. Violence does solve problems.
Support the Second Amendment, 2A all the way. Remember, politics are local. Join your state Rifle and Pistol Association.
Good night, everyone. Oh, most importantly, if you're struggling, we want you here. We need you here. 1-800-273-8255.
I get it.
That is hilarious. Running with scissors. Running with scissors. Hope everyone had a great Independence Day. Here's to Christopher Columbus. He discovered America and wrote the Pledge of Allegiance after smartly commissioning Betsy Ross to make our flag.
We are surrounded by some crazy, crazy damn maniacs.
We are surrounded by smart asses, and I love it. So, but if you're a smart ass and you're suffering, because unfortunately sometimes we are smart asses as a cry for help. Once again, seriously, reach out. Suicide hotline, 1-800-273-8255. It's not just strictly if you're contemplating ending it. They've got a bunch of services and everything that can get you in touch with people that can help you, even if you're just struggling with some mental issues. Jim?
I wanted to take and do a little housekeeping, and I forgot to during the show, and I apologize for that. Chris, if you want to move it into the show, that'd be fine. Guys, if you want to join the group, you got to answer all the questions. Not two, not one. You got to answer them all. You got to answer them with some common sense. Today we had 10 applicants. He rejected 9 of you.
Well, there you go.
I'm sorry, but that's just the way it's got to be. We've got to take and keep our nose clean on Facebook.
I don't know. My thought on that whole entire thing, Jim, is if they can't bother to follow simple instructions, screw them. So
pretty much.
3 questions, guys. It ain't rocket science.
Right.
It's also like if the photo doesn't look like if it doesn't look like you'd be into reloading, some of the other things, we can pretty much get common sense on figuring out. Okay, do they look like they want to truly be a contributing member to the group?
That's called vetting, Nick, and I do it every day.
Yep.
Oh yeah. So, all right, gang. Have a good night. Thanks, everyone.
Good night, all.
Good night.